Okay, when you hear the word mathematics, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's classrooms, it's formulas, and that constant pressure to find that one single correct answer. But what if I told you that's only a tiny piece of the puzzle? Let's dive into this because today we're going to completely rethink what math is and what it means to actually do it. I mean, really think about your own experience. Was math a subject where you just followed steps a teacher gave you, praying you memorized the procedure right? Was the whole game just about getting to that magic number at the back of the textbook? If you're nodding along right now, you are definitely not alone. This view of math as just a rigid set of rules you have to follow is super common. And honestly, it can make the whole subject feel kind of uncreative, maybe even a little boring. But the truth is, that's not what mathematics is really about at all. To really get to the heart of this, we have to ask a super basic question. What is mathematics? And you might be surprised to find out that there's no single universally agreed upon answer. No, seriously. For a subject that feels so absolute, so black and white, its actual definition is incredibly flexible. Philosophers, scientists, and mathematicians have all described it in totally different ways, all depending on what part they think is most important. So check this out. You have the philosopher Bertrand Russell saying this. He's pointing to how incredibly abstract math is. How we start with these concepts like point or line that aren't even really defined, and we build entire logical worlds from them. It's a very, very philosophical way to look at it. But then, on the complete other end of the spectrum, you get this from Maurice Klein. He saw math as something deeply tied to the real world, a creative toolbox we invent to solve actual problems. So is it some abstract logic game, or is it a practical, creative tool? Well, the answer is, it's kind of both. And that brings us to the most important point. For us, the most useful and empowering way to think about math is as the science of patterns and order. Its world isn't just numbers. It's about finding and making sense of the structure in everything, from the rules of chance and the shapes in nature to the way things change over time. Now, if you accept that new definition, it completely flips the script on how we should engage with math. It shifts the whole focus from passively knowing a bunch of rules to actively doing mathematics. It turns us from just followers into actual explorers. This question right here, this gets to the absolute core of that traditional mindset. It shows a belief that every problem already has a set solution and that it's the teacher's job to just show you the path. It's the classic sign of being a passive learner, just waiting for instructions. And this just lays it out so perfectly. Over on the left, you've got the old school view. Teacher gives the rules, student memorizes, the end goal is the answer. But then look at the right, the modern view. Math is a process of figuring things out. The student is an active explorer, and the focus isn't just on the answer, it's on the thrill of discovering patterns. It's a totally different ballgame. Okay, so if doing math isn't just calculating an answer, then what is it? Well, it means you stop memorizing facts and you start engaging in a cycle of investigation. This cycle is basically the engine of all mathematical thinking. First, you represent an idea using symbols. Then, you manipulate those symbols based on a set of logical rules. This is the fun, game-playing part. And finally, you validate your result. But validation isn't about checking your answer with a teacher. It's about you judging if your solution gives you new insights or if it actually solves a real-world problem. It's this dynamic, creative loop. All right, so let's bring this all down to earth and see how it actually applies to our lives. Because this isn't just some abstract idea for a classroom. This pattern-finding skill is something you are using all the time, whether you know it or not. Mathematical thinking is, and I mean this literally, everywhere. It's in how we manage our homes, our finances. It's in how we track our health and fitness. It's in every single career, and it's how we make sense of the patterns of the world all around us. Let's get really specific here. When you double a recipe because you have guests coming over, that's mathematical thinking. When you create a budget, you're actually calculating risk and reward. Look, even a factory worker is using basic arithmetic to be more efficient, while a manager is using way more advanced math for big strategic calls. All of it is sharpening your logical mind and helping you see the beautiful patterns in nature, from a spider's web to a mountain range. And the benefits are totally real.
I mean, studies have shown that when you regularly engage in this kind of problem solving, it gives a major boost to your logical skills, your analytical thinking, and just your overall ability to tackle complex problems. It's literally exercise for your brain.
So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? When you start seeing mathematics as the science of patterns, you get this powerful new lens to see the world through. It stops being just a subject in school, it becomes a fundamental way of thinking.
This all leads to this beautiful final question. Is math something we discover, like finding a law of physics that was already there waiting for us? Or is it something we invent, a language of numbers and symbols that we created to describe reality? The fascinating answer is it seems to be both. We invent the tools that allow us to discover the truths that were there all along.
And that's exactly why mathematics feels like both a science and an art. Like science, it's built on this core belief that there's an underlying order to the universe. But like art, it uses pure imagination to create these beautiful, elegant patterns, made not of paint or music, but of pure ideas. At the end of the day, mathematics at its very core is this uniquely human way of making sense of a universe that might otherwise just seem chaotic. It's a tool for organizing our experience, for sharing complex thoughts, and for finding the hidden unity and order in everything. By shifting your own view from just getting the right answer to actively searching for patterns, you unlock a completely new way of interacting with the world. So the only question left is, with this new perspective, what patterns are you going to discover next?